week and a half ago, I stood up here and said that those responsible for shooting our deputy would be held accountable. That wasn't a threat. That was just the facts, and that was a promise that we were making to the community that we were not going to allow these people to run around here and just shoot in houses and shoot anybody, which included our deputy. So we have made 4 arrests. We'll put their pictures up. Sean Wise, Rayshawn Laird, Demarius Rogers, Maury Shorten. And if you'll look at their date of births or their ages, you'll see how old they are. This is what we're up against. This age group, this generation right here are the ones who believe that that gun gives them power, gives them respect. But you're seeing what it's getting them. It's getting them in jail. All 4 of these are responsible for shooting Deputy Crawford and his fiancée, which was the 96th drive-by shooting that we've had in a house in Richland County. These 4 have been arrested since a week and a half ago when we talked about it. We've done 6 search warrants. In the meantime, we've arrested about 6 people total. We've seized 6 guns. One of the guns ballistically matched to the guns that we used to shoot our deputy and his fiancée. I didn't want anybody to think it was a threat when I stood up here a week and a half ago and talked about what we were going to do, because it wasn't a threat. It was a promise that not only am I tired of these drive-by shootings, but this community of Richland County is sick and tired of it too. We just had a hurricane come through, didn't have a whole lot of damage, but there's another hurricane going on, and it's a Category 5. And that's the hurricane against these gangs that we've got out here. And it is not going to slow down until we see a difference in this community. And I know one particular gang sent word to us that if we hurt one of them, they're going to hurt 2 of us. It don't work that way in Richland County. We're not the ones that's going to be looking on our shoulders and worried about if somebody's going to blow our doors down at 4 o'clock in the morning and put somebody in jail. That's what we're going to do. So these gangs out here that are the so-called leaders, if you want to have this Category 5 become a tropical storm, then you need to do something about these young kids out here, these ages that you just saw, who are out here doing these drive-by shootings and shooting each other. Then you need to do something about it. And then this hurricane may be diminished down to a tropical storm, but we're not going to slow down. This is not the end of it just because we've arrested these 4 that shot our deputies. It's going to continue, and we're going to continue to focus on those who cannot abide by the law and who just don't care. To take and shoot multiple times in a house and not worry about who's in the house and who's going to get hit, we're not going to tolerate that. And it's too much. When I saw that it was 96, that's going to stop. So we're going to continue doing what we're doing. Our investigators, our fugitive task force, our gang task force, all the people that's been working on this did a great job, to bring closure to this case with our deputy being shot. But that's not the only case that we've got. We've got others that we're going to focus on. We've got others that that are in the community that we're going to continue to go after. All 4 of those that were responsible for the shooting remain in jail. I think our Mashert system has got the message, and I thank them for the no bonds that they've set. I think that's going to make a difference, that these shooters don't continuously get out. The catch and release may be slowing down a little bit, and it needs to be. But our guys and girls who work these cases have done a great job. They've put a lot of effort into it, used all the resources that we've got, helping the community. I can't overemphasize how this community in Richland County is just sick of this. They're sick of me standing up here talking about young people who are involved in shootings, the young people who continuously just go out here with these guns. Since you had the Meadow Lake shooting back just before the summer, I think that's what got everybody's attention in the community and just what's going on. And then this shooting of our deputy, that crossed the line. That, if you want to talk about a line being crossed, that was it. So, you know, the rest of those out there in the community that's involved in gangs, get ready. We're coming for you too. Questions?
What's the status of the deputy and him and his fiancée?
The good news is he goes back to work on Monday. He'll be back in his school as a school resource officer on Monday. So they're both recovering. He's recovered enough that he's ready to go back to work and work with the young people that he has such an impact and influence on their lives. So that's good news.
You had mentioned 96 drive-by shootings. Is that just this year in Richland County?
That was as of a week and a half ago, when this Deputy Crawford's house was the 96th one that we've had this year. Just do the math on how many that is. Again, you know, how much bravery does it take to sneak up to somebody's house, you know, at night and fire a bunch of shots and run away like a little girl? You know, just all scared and just run away, and because that makes you big and bad to shoot up in somebody's house, you know, late at night when nobody can see it. That's bad.
And you also mentioned there was 6 arrests made for obviously being responsible for the shooting.
No, there's four arrests made for the responsible for the shooting, but we've done other arrests also.
Gotcha.
Now, there's other cases that we had that on the peripheral of this case that we did search warrants on and seized some guns. We worked the city of Columbia with one of their cases and did one of the search warrants for them in the county and made some arrests and got some guns. So we're getting the guns off the street, but we're getting the people who are holding those guns off the street too.
Any of the 4 suspects in this incident, do they have prior records?
I don't know. I don't know. Right now, it doesn't matter. They're all charged with 8 counts of attempted murder. That's pretty significant right there.
And these 4 suspects, they are gang affiliated?
This was a gang-related shooting. Gangs are involved in this. Again, you know, we're not going to allow the gangs to control Columbia and Richland County. They tried that in 2000 when we had a gang war here. At that time, we had a lot of denial that gangs even existed in Columbia, and that contributed to the growth of the gangs and allowing the gangs. And unfortunately, it took some young people to get killed before the community stood up and said, "Yeah, there's gangs here," and then the community got involved. That's the point we're at right now. The community is getting involved now. Different organizations are doing things now that may have slowed down a little bit because we were successful. When I say we, the community was successful in slowing down the gang activity, and so people kind of slowed down. Now it's ramped back up, so the community's ramping back up too. This is the #1 concern of most people in the Columbia areas is the violence, the shootings, young people with guns. I get asked all the time, what's the 3 top problems we got? Same one, kids with guns, kids with guns, kids with guns. That's what we're focusing on.
Can you share some of the details of what the gang intervention strategy might be?
About their what?
If you have a gang intervention strategy or an attempt to combat these gangs?
Education and enforcement. I'm talking about the enforcement part today, locking them up. The education part is education with our parents and our adults, how to recognize gangs, but also education of the young people about, you know, if you get involved in a gang, what's going to happen is I'm going to probably put your picture up here and your name on you going to jail and holding you accountable. You know, so again, that gun and being involved in the gang is going to get you 1 or 2 places. It's going to be in the cemetery or get you in jail.
Did the investigators establish a motive behind the incident?
Yes, the target was not our deputy. The target was some other family members that were in the house. So yeah, we know what the motive was. It was shooting at some other family members, our deputy. And that's, again, goes back to what I said earlier, is that when you just shoot multiple times in a house and you don't care who's in there and who gets shot, that's the mentality they have. Okay, thank y'all.